Let's start with amazing duets. I worked with Lauryn Hill.
In the shadows of soul's evolution stands a voice that refuses compromise. D'Angelo, a man who turned vulnerability into virtuosity and made patience sound revolutionary. With Brown Sugar in 1995, he brought classic soul back when R&B had gone synthetic. Then Voodoo arrived in 2000, loose drums, raw emotion, grooves that sat behind the beat like they had all the time in the world. He didn't just make records, he shifted the entire sound of modern soul.
And the Soul Train Music Award goes to Brown Sugar D'Angelo!
But behind the mystique and the perfectionism was an artist shaped by deep influences. D'Angelo didn't build his sound alone. He absorbed it from the musicians who dared to blur boundaries and push soul forward. Some collaborations, some spiritual ancestors, all essential. Today, we're counting down the 6 artists who shaped D'Angelo's artistry, from collaborators who pushed his boundaries to legends who gave him permission to exist in his full complexity. These aren't just names he respects, they're the voices that taught him what soul could be when it refused to play it safe. So let's dive in, because the names on this list didn't just influence an artist, they helped redefine what modern soul could sound like.
Number 6. Q-Tip.
D'Angelo didn't just make soul music, he reshaped it. And one of the few people to influence that transformation was Q-Tip.
Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest, Method Man.
In the late 1990s, at Electric Lady Studios in New York, a creative movement was forming, the Soulquarians. D'Angelo, Q-Tip, Questlove, J Dilla, Erykah Badu, Common, all working in overlapping sessions, all pushing black music towards something new. They didn't see hip-hop and soul as separate worlds. They saw them as branches of the same tree. Q-Tip had been exploring that space for years with A Tribe Called Quest. Albums like The Low End Theory blurred the lines between jazz, hip-hop, and funk, showing that rhythm could breathe, pause, and swing like a live band. That same mindset helped shape D'Angelo's Voodoo sessions, where groove became something spiritual and patient. When D'Angelo later said that working with Q-Tip expanded him rhythmically and conceptually, he meant it. Q-Tip approached production like a conversation, knowing when to add, when to hold back, and when silence said more than sound. That discipline rubbed off on D'Angelo's process. On Voodoo, the drums sit just behind the beat, the bass lingers, and every note feels intentional. It's a sound that values feel over flash, something Q-Tip had already mastered. You can hear their shared DNA in tracks like The Root from Voodoo and Excursions from The Low End Theory. Both glide in that pocket where time bends and groove takes over. The respect between them was mutual. Q-Tip didn't try to make D'Angelo sound like a rapper, and D'Angelo never tried to turn Q-Tip into a soul singer. They shared a belief that hip-hop's sampling and soul's live instrumentation were part of the same lineage, that honoring the past didn't mean repeating it. That's what made Q-Tip's presence so vital. He reminded D'Angelo and the whole Soulquarian circle that progress came from creation, not separation. By connecting hip-hop's rhythm to soul's emotion, they built a bridge that redefined modern R&B. He learned the importance of collaboration, not separation, from Q-Tip. This next artist on the list had a voice so beautiful that he just had to collaborate with her.
Number 5. Lauryn Hill.
Some voices demand attention, others command reverence. Lauryn Hill did both, simultaneously, without apology. When D'Angelo recorded Nothing Even Matters with Lauryn Hill, it wasn't just a duet. It was a conversation between two artists on the same mission, to bring depth back to soul music when the mainstream had forgotten what depth meant. When radio wanted smooth surfaces, they offered jagged truth. When the industry wanted predictable, they offered prophetic. Here's what D'Angelo had to say.
I worked with Lauryn Hill. She was great.
D'Angelo doesn't waste words. He doesn't offer empty praise. When he says great, he means it with every fiber of his being. Lauryn wasn't just talented, she was intentional. Every note she sang carried purpose. Every lyric fought for something. Freedom, justice, love, truth. The kind of truth that makes people uncomfortable because it demands they look at themselves honestly. And D'Angelo recognized that fire immediately. He saw in Lauryn what he saw in himself, an artist who refused to choose between commercial success and artistic integrity, who believed, despite all evidence to the contrary, that audiences were smarter than the industry gave them credit for. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill arrived in 1998, the same cultural moment when D'Angelo was crafting Voodoo. Both albums rejected the slickness of late 90s R&B. Both demanded vulnerability. Both trusted that audiences were hungry for music that challenged them, not just seduced them. That people wanted to think, not just dance. Or rather, that the best music made you do both at the same time. Nothing Even Matters floats like a prayer. D'Angelo's voice curls around Lauryn's with the kind of chemistry you can't manufacture. No runs for the sake of runs, no acrobatics to impress, no vocal gymnastics designed to show off range. Just two souls recognizing each other in the song. Two voices finding the harmony that exists when ego steps aside and lets spirit take over. The lyrics are simple on the surface, but underneath they're revolutionary. In a culture obsessed with materialism, they dared to suggest that love, connection, communion mattered more than anything money could buy. That two people lost in each other could create a universe that didn't need validation from the outside world. What D'Angelo admired most wasn't just her voice, though her voice was extraordinary. It was her conviction. Lauryn Hill stood for something. She spoke truth when it was easier to stay silent. She chose artistry over commerce. That's why Lauryn Hill became part of his foundation. She embodied the mix of purity and purpose he strives for in his own art. The next artist on this list got here not because of a duet, but something more.
Number 4. Eric Clapton. Their collaboration didn't start with a studio session or a jam. It started with a loss.
I did some work with Eric Clapton. We did a tribute to Curtis Mayfield, who just recently passed.
When Curtis Mayfield passed away in 1999, the world lost more than a soul icon. It lost a conscience, a man who showed that music could lift spirits and challenge injustice at the same time. To honor him, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame held a tribute concert that same year. On that stage, Eric Clapton invited D'Angelo to join him in performing Mayfield's "I've Been Trying." For D'Angelo, it wasn't just another appearance. Mayfield was one of his deepest influences, proof that soul could be radical, romantic, and righteous all at once. Sharing that moment with Clapton, before an audience of legends, carried a sacred kind of pressure. Clapton understood exactly what the night meant. A veteran who'd played with B.B. King, George Harrison, and Duane Allman, he treated D'Angelo not as an opening act, but as an equal. Together, they honored Mayfield's memory with a performance steeped in humility and reverence. That collaboration marked a bridge between generations, the blues lineage that shaped Clapton, meeting the neo-soul movement D'Angelo was redefining. Both artists believed in authenticity over spectacle, substance over style. And you can hear that spirit echo through D'Angelo's Voodoo album a year later. The same restraint, the same patience, the same belief that power doesn't always come from playing louder or faster. Sometimes it comes from knowing when to hold back. For D'Angelo, Clapton embodied a truth that transcended genre, that mastery and humility can coexist. Their connection wasn't built on charts or trends. It was born from shared respect, a common lineage, and a mutual devotion to Curtis Mayfield's legacy. But if Clapton showed him the bridge between generations, another blues legend taught him that simplicity could carry the weight of a lifetime.
Number 3. B.B. King. They collaborated on a duet.
I did a duet with B.B. King on his album.
In 1997, D'Angelo received a call that would put him in the same room as one of his heroes, B.B. King, the undisputed king of the blues. King was putting together Deuces Wild, a duet album pairing himself with some of the biggest names in music: Van Morrison, Eric Clapton, Bonnie Raitt, and, surprisingly, the young soul prodigy from Virginia who had just shaken the industry with Brown Sugar. The two recorded Ain't Nobody Home. It wasn't a flashy track, no extended solos, no vocal runs, just groove, tone, and feeling. The kind of simplicity that only two masters of restraint could pull off.
D'Angelo once said that blues was the foundation of everything he ever played, and in that session, it showed. You could hear him breathing between phrases, leaving space for King's legendary Lucille guitar to answer. King's tone, raw and bending with the ache of a lifetime, met D'Angelo's soft rasp like two generations speaking the same emotional language. For D'Angelo, this wasn't just a duet, it was a spiritual handoff. B.B. King represented everything he admired about music: honesty, humility, and the idea that one well-placed note could express more truth than a wall of sound. Even decades later, D'Angelo still referenced King as one of the few artists who taught him that soul isn't a genre, it's an energy. It's what you put into every chord, every pause, every silence. That collaboration didn't just validate D'Angelo's place among legends, it grounded him. It reminded him that no matter how modern his sound became, it all came from the same river that B.B. King had been flowing in for half a century. It's one of the few studio moments where you can literally hear time fold, the old guard and the new soul prophet side by side, proving that feeling never ages. But while the blues taught him restraint, another legend showed him what he had always known and gave him the confidence to be himself. 2. Prince D'Angelo revealed why he adored the Prince.
Play with the spiritual and the sexual in the same breath.
It's one of the clearest windows into who shaped him and how deep that influence ran. From childhood, Prince wasn't just one of D'Angelo's favorite artists. He was a revelation. He showed that a black man could be sensual and sacred, wild and wise, all at once. There were no walls between the church and the bedroom, only rhythm, only spirit. As D'Angelo grew older and began crafting his own sound, he realized what made Prince revolutionary wasn't just the falsetto or the fashion, it was the philosophy. Prince proved that the body and the soul could speak the same language, that sexuality could be worship, that performance could be prayer, that truth lived at the heart of Untitled How Does It Feel? When it dropped in 2000, people focused on the surface, the slow groove, the bare skin, the camera that refused to look away. But D'Angelo insisted it wasn't meant to be sexual provocation, it was spiritual release. He described the song as an expression of vulnerability, connection, and transcendence, exactly what he had seen Prince do for decades. Like Prince, D'Angelo used his voice like confession, trembling between desire and devotion, blurring the line between praise and pleasure. Every note in Untitled carries that tension, the ache of wanting something carnal and the surrender of yearning for something divine. That's not imitation, that's inheritance. Prince gave D'Angelo permission to exist in that duality, to be complex, to be contradictory, to be real. He showed that the sacred could live in the sensual, that holiness wasn't about restraint, but about honesty. And beyond the music, D'Angelo also admired Prince's fight for ownership and integrity, changing his name to a symbol, writing "slave" on his face, battling Warner Brothers to control his masters. To D'Angelo, that wasn't rebellion for show, it was spiritual warfare. It was the same belief that freedom, artistic, physical, spiritual, is the highest form of devotion. So when D'Angelo said Prince played with the spiritual and the sexual in the same breath, he wasn't just describing an artist, he was describing a mirror. Prince showed him that soul music could hold everything: lust, love, pain, prayer, without apology. And that lesson shaped not just Voodoo, but D'Angelo's entire understanding of what it means to make art that feels human, body and spirit, breathing in harmony. The spirit was there, the sound was forming. All he needed now was a heartbeat. And that's when the right man came into the picture. Number 1. Questlove. Some musical partnerships feel planned. This one didn't. Questlove and D'Angelo's connection started with a risk and a drum solo.
First time I kind of fronted on him because I just had a real snobbish attitude about R&B music, and I met him. I was like, an R&B guy.
Here's what Questlove says about how they met. He regretted acting snobbish because they could have made history, but that regret turned into determination. A year later, fate lined things up. The Roots were opening for the Fugees at the House of Blues in LA. D'Angelo was in the balcony watching. They'd never met, never spoken, but somehow both of them knew the other was there. So Questlove took a risk, deviating from a style his band knew and understood just to get D'Angelo's attention.
I had to take a risk because it was a drum solo, but what my band was accustomed to me doing every night for like the whole year, I wasn't doing.
For a few seconds, the whole club disappeared. It was just Questlove and D'Angelo, two musicians speaking in rhythm, without a single word said. Questlove said he used the West African method of drum communication, a kind of coded rhythm language musicians use to signal each other. D'Angelo caught it immediately.
That 10-second intro, and I just saw his shadow like, and I was like, phew, got him.
That moment, less than a minute of unspoken recognition, was the spark that built Voodoo. When they finally worked together, that same telepathic rhythm shaped everything they recorded. The loose human swing of the drums, the off-grid groove, the patience, the space. Questlove didn't just drum for D'Angelo. He helped define the feel of Voodoo. He slowed things down when the rest of R&B was speeding up. He brought imperfection back into rhythm, the slight push and pull that makes music feel alive. Together, they built the pulse that would power the Soulquarian sound, a movement that changed how modern R&B and hip-hop felt forever. Without Questlove, Voodoo might have been a great record. With him, it became a movement, a heartbeat that still echoes through artists like Erykah Badu, Common, Bilal, and every soul musician who believes groove is more than timing. It's communication. That's why Questlove isn't just number one on D'Angelo's list. He's the pulse behind it. In the end, D'Angelo loved these artists for the same reason he makes music. They were fearless. They broke rules, blurred lines, and found divinity in imperfection. From rhythm to resistance, from groove to grace, each one taught him that soul isn't a sound, it's the courage to be completely human. And there you have it, the top 6 artists who shaped D'Angelo's sound. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out our video where we revealed the 6 musicians D'Angelo revealed he hated the most.